Oh, didn't work. Oops.
Turning the staff.
Hello everyone and welcome to Pure Dead Gaming Afterlife, our supplementary podcast or video cast in this case, where we like to talk through the biggest talking points of the month just ended, and what better month to discuss than May 2023. The gaming world has been abuzz with announcements, releases and surprises, and our expert panel is here to guide us through their top 5 moments or talking points of the month. Before we delve into the discussion though, let's introduce our esteemed panelists. First up, we have the one and only Pure Dead Craig, the father of Pure Dead Gaming, or husband in my case. Hi Craig.
I birthed the fuck out it. From a wee fucking infant, squeezed it right out my arse.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Wow. We also have Dony. Hi.
Hello.
We also have Dony, a familiar face on our podcast, who most likely turned down about 4 other invites to be here. You're essentially getting about.
This is always my first choice.
What have you birthed, Dony?
Me?
Aye.
Well, I've birthed the nothing, mate. I've nothing to show for my 38 years.
A red cola soup.
That's about it. Yeah, a couple of vodkas.
And last but certainly not least, we have Jamie, a first-timer here on Pure Dead Gaming, bringing fresh perspectives and insights to the table. Welcome, Jamie. We're thrilled to have you join us.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Delighted.
Delighted to be here. Ecstatic to be here.
You brought us up a notch.
Well, I don't know about that.
We're on notch 1.
I'll soon bring you down plenty.
Okay, so I tend not to be on this podcast, I realise. I think this is my first recap episode, but as the format goes, we'll count down from 5 to 1, top 5 moments. I'm not going to give a top 5, it's just you guys. But guests always go first. So Jamie, that is you. Do you want to kick things off for us?
Yeah, sure. I was saying this to actually message this to Dony the other night, that May's been quite a long month, or so it feels anyway. Can I believe that Redfall came out just at the start of the month? And I think, yeah, basically my number 5 is essentially Redfall and how kind of poor the game was. And I'm not going to get stuck in Xbox. This is not an Xbox kick-in.
Don't worry.
Aye, well, that's fair. But and I know, Craig, you've mentioned it as well. Like Arcane is certainly it's one of my favourite developers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really surprised by how poorly Redfall was received, but not just received critically, but the bugs and the performance. And even before the reviews went live, there was that red flag about how it's only going to run at 30 frames on console. There was all that hype pre-release where you had the YouTubers off playing it on what now appears to have been PC. But even the PC build, I think, was disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
From what I'm led to believe. I mean, certainly with my own experiences with it, you had like poor enemy AI. The vampires were meant to be the big kind of attraction in terms of enemy types, and they were really shit to fight. Frankly, they were limited to like a lot of the time melee attacks, so they had to get up close to you, and then you just had to waste them a couple of times with bullets, and then attach you like press a button prompt and then run up and stab them, and that was it. Dead. For an Arcane game, the world is bland. You consider games like Dishonored and Prey and the world building that they do. It felt really flat. I talk about the performance. I mean, there was just texture popping everywhere. I think Digital Foundry. Again, I don't have I meant to research the time, but I want to say it was in the region of a minute on the Xbox Series X that they had to sit and wait for the high-res textures to pop in.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly experienced that. I took screenshots, posted it, and I know it was early build. It was day one kind of release. And now we're just getting more information coming out. And I know today we're technically into June, but we'll have more information coming out through Bloomberg about some of the background stuff that's going on as well. So it just seems like a big shit show, and it's a shame because Arcane, as I say, one of my favourite developers out there, and for them to put out a game like that, really disappointing.
I totally agree. Yeah, I put about 20 hours into this before launch, but it was the build that was released, and it's funny these days. Like, see, if it was 5 years ago and you were playing a game and you were getting bugs, you would be confident that everyone was going to get the same or similar bugs. But I was playing it, and I mean, some of this stuff that's on the screen is fucking hilarious. But I was getting bug after bug after bug, and that way where you're not sure if everyone else, you're like, shit, am I having a different experience from other people here? Because you do sort of have that trust with Arcane that you think, surely they're not going to make an absolute cunt of it. But I mean, the sort of stuff we're seeing just now, like I was getting things like that all the time, and this just wasn't what other players, zombies, vampires stuck in the ceiling and the floor and doors, just not reacting to you, not taking any damage, because although you could see them, they weren't actually there. And yeah, like I say, just before, because I was playing it pre-release, it was really difficult to tell. Like, I knew it was rough because I was having those issues with all the textures not popping in. So I knew that there's no way I was getting all this and nobody else was getting it. But at the same point, like, I don't know, like, because it was put, it was sort of marketed as more a co-op game. I had no interest in co-op, only play solo. And so I did sort of think, am I having a worse experience here because I'm not playing with other people? Like, is this actually buggy but fun and co-op? But from what I've heard from people, like, you actually get a better experience, if you can believe it, in solo mode.
I mean, it's easy to play it solo. To play it co-op, there's barely even a game. It's because it's such a lack of challenge as it is. Yeah, and I mean, the information that's came out today is that seemingly like 70% of the. Oh, sorry, I'll rephrase that. A lot of the devs who had left, a lot of the developers who left after Prey, who that's kind of started working on the game, didn't want it to be a multiplayer game, and that's right enough. I mean,
it's not what they make.
They don't make some multiplayer games. No, Deathloop had a bit of multiplayer in it, but nothing like this. Nothing to the point where they were creating essentially a live service game, sort of co-op Destiny style, kind of essentially looter shooter. It was really, I mean, that's what they were kind of going for, really, isn't it? So yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna say Bloomberg's report came out today, as we're recording, which was quite damning, to be fair. Which obviously Jason Schreier doing a good job again, and obviously he spoke about the fact that this was originally supposed to be a live service game and the quote was significant microtransactions. So clearly wasn't the game that it finished up with, but the real kind of sticklers was, there was clearly no leadership or direction. That's clear quotes. And to be fair, Big Phil did say that when he came on and did his groveling apology and Kind of Funny, he did say that, listen, we kind of left this alone. And the stories are at one point the studio are working on this game. At one point they had less than 100 people working on this, which, listen, for a AA game that's fine, but for a AAA experience it's not. And Jamie, you kind of nailed it. You were spot on there. 70% of the devs who made Prey didn't complete the development of this game, which, I mean, that's a staggering turnover of staff. Redfall was actually my number 4. I wasn't going to sit here and beat on it. I was more interested in, obviously, the information that came out today. So, and Fluffers in the chat there saying Donny's in a dark room on camera standard. I've got the neons on. What are you fucking talking about?
That's fucking sirens in the background.
Got the neons on the go, baby. Poor Redfall that has drifted so much. It's not even out the top 100 now, I believe, or something like that. It's dead. The game's DOA.
And the thing is, obviously, see, like, we've had a lot of good games in May, but Chris in the chat makes a really good point because he says, and we somehow got a worse game in May. Obviously, because none of us have played it. It's not made the cut, but the fact that this wasn't the worst game in May, when you look at these clips here, is quite something.
I think what's interesting as
that's
well
no
is
way to speak about Tears of the Kingdom, by the way. How dare you? How dare you?
How
Sorry,
dare
Jamie.
you? I've seen your list. You were supposed to the fucking biggest game of the year, and nobody's even got it. Unbelievable. I'm going to sack everybody. I'm going to burn this whole place down.
Yeah, no.
Excuse me. If I had a top 5, I would have covered it. Let's be honest.
Where are
There's
you
just
with your
other
fucking
news.
top 5?
Yeah, I don't have a top 5.
She says that like she was fucking banned from having one.
I wasn't allowed a top 5.
Yeah. I'm surprised you've let her out, you animal. She's chained up somewhere.
Look, don't.
You'll notice our background's blurred out. It's because it's just a dark basement.
Aye.
If
If it wasn't blurred, you would see the bars from the cage.
Look, don't spin this around just because Donny's in a fucking dark room.
You can bring this on me.
Let's not play who's the
right.
biggest predator here, right?
Jamie.
Well, I was toying with changing my lights to red, but then that would just
Don't do that.
No, I'm not gonna.
Don't do that.
No, you need to keep it on brand blue. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so Redfall.
Anyway. Let's move on, shall we? As Chris has just said, this is taking a turn.
Okay, so who's next up? Donny, then you're number 5, please.
Right. We're going to spend 30 seconds on this because nobody wants to talk about it. Everyone's bored of hearing about it. But we'd be
Apart from
remiss.
you, obviously.
No, listen, I'd be remiss not to mention it because at the end of the day, it's still big news. Obviously, we've got an ABK update this month. EU approved it. CMA doubled down. Microsoft have appealed it. End. If any of you have any more to say it now. Otherwise, we can fucking move on. We've still got a report on it. It's still important, but I'm done.
I still think, and I don't know how it happens.
Come
but
on,
I
with a chance to get out there. With a chance to get out.
No, you've fucking made your bed. I don't know how it goes through, but I still somehow think it goes through. I'm sticking to my guns on. I think it will go through. I know that at the moment it's probably less than a 50% chance, but there's something in the back of my mind says it goes through.
What's interesting for me, being serious here, is the fact that when the EU approved it for their reason, that's fine. What was interesting was the CMA within a couple of hours came out and they doubled down. They didn't go, oh shit.
It was within about 40 minutes.
Have we maybe made a mistake? They doubled down. So what that tells me is that even if this appeal goes through, they ain't changing their fucking mind. Not without anything massive or significant happen. They don't double down and then back down. No chance. So that for me was actually quite telling, but I think it's now down to the FTC. It's, that's the next last hurdle. But the EU was a surprise. I thought they'd follow the CMA and take the easy way out, but they haven't.
Yes.
Cool. We're done.
Aye, but I have nothing to add to that.
Good.
Write this down as number 5 for July.
Right.
We'll come back to it in July. Make sure have it down. That's when the hearing is. We'll come back to it in July.
I'm sure we will.
Get it earmarked.
Yeah.
Start promoting it.
The PDG ABK. How many? Like, how can you abbreviate that anymore? Like,
yeah. So, Craig, what was your 5?
My number 5 was Red Flop, and we spoke about it. So we can move on from there. Again, it's just fucking sad. It's sad to see. Like, it's not the team that made Deathloop, but still, the fact that Arcane's getting ripped apart, it gives you not a lot of confidence for whatever they're bringing next as well, and that's kind of concerning. So, yeah, but that was my number 5. Cool. I totally agree with what Jamie said, though. It's mad. When I was making the list up here, I could not believe that was still in May. It has been a very, very long one.
Yes, I thought that was last month as well.
I thought it was.
I think it's because we spoke, because I think the reviews dropped at the end of the month, so we spoke about it because the reviews were so bad.
Well, the news kind of came out about it being a 30 frames. I think
that's right.
in April, and there was a lot of like red flags, and a lot of folk were shitting the bed essentially. So yeah, and then it actually came out, and everybody was like,
panic.
It's even worse than they could imagine. I felt like worst game could come out in May.
Cool. So, Jamie's number 4.
Number 4. I will keep this one short and sweet because you guys did a fantastic job talking about it the other night.
Oh, thank you.
PlayStation Showcase, obviously. had quite a lot of stuff. As a PlayStation first-party event, however, there was a lot of things missing. Kind of a bit of a question. Well, yeah. A bit of an open-ended question. Do we think that some of the PlayStation Showcase reveals are potentially being held back for next week for Summer Game Fest? Did Jeff Keighley go cap in hand and say, boys, I'm sorry, but I've got nothing to show? You know, he's the king of hype. He'll be hyping up next week. Is it possible he's went and sort of maybe somehow convinced Sony to hold back some of its bangers for Summer Game Fest?
If they didn't before last Thursday, they do now. Because I think there'll be a little bit of damage control, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have any plans. I'd be shocked if they still don't have any, because I think they've seen the feedback from last week and gone, oh, fuck, we need to do something here. I still expect to see Death Stranding 2 in some sort of, I'm not saying gameplay, but I think we'll see something, because on the day, Kojima-san and Fanny Boz are obviously best chums. So,
I mean, it's the annual.
Doubt that Death Stranding 2 is there.
Yeah, it's the annual loving between the Keighley Kojima.
Yeah. And as well, to be fair, my number 3, obviously we're not going to speak to just now, but I was expecting my number 3 to be shown at it, and clearly that won't be happening now, which is Factions. I was expecting that, but we'll come to that next anyway. So Death Stranding and possibly some damage control.
I think the thing I was, because essentially you've got this. There was a couple of rumors put out on the ever reliable Twitter, about how there may well be a second showcase, and it's not beyond Sony to do a second showcase in a year. They've done it before. You've got your extended state of plays, things like that. So it's whether or not they'll do a second showcase, or whether it's the Summer Game Fest, because there was allegedly reveals that have been seen that weren't shown last week, and that's whether or not it's coming next week or whether it's going to be later in the year.
Yeah, I do think it makes total sense that we would see something of Death Stranding 2. Like, we know PlayStation's going to be there in some capacity. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get that much from PlayStation. Like, I think, I don't know. I think there could be like a sort of desire to maybe stem the backlash that they're getting, but at the same point, it just would be such a bizarre PlayStation move to put something really good on a third-party show instead of their own show. So, yeah, maybe Death Stranding 2, but I think we'll probably get Death Stranding 2, and then maybe like, I was going to say, like, maybe the Ghost of Tsushima PC port, although they could have held the Ratchet port for that.
I was surprised with that one. I was surprised that got announced randomly.
See, honestly, I'm really shocked at the amount of things that have been announced on the likes of Twitter and stuff like that over the last week. There's showcases fucking left and right. Why is, I know it's a Silent Hill Ascension, right? It's not the biggest game, but surely somebody would have taken that. I mean, their Twitter account's got like 2,000 followers, and they're tweeting out the new trailer. Even the fucking Summer Game Fest pre-show or something like that, put it somewhere, man. Don't stick it out on fucking Twitter 6 days before it or something like that. It's weird. And then the same with the Ratchet port. I mean, you think that? I mean, Keighley would have taken that. He'll fucking take it, and it's going.
I don't even get why it wasn't there last week.
Aye. It would improve the showcase.
Fuck, anything would have, man. Jesus Christ. Give us something. Give us something, Jim.
But then again, they could be doing a double. What is it? A double bluff? Is that a thing?
Well, sandbagging's the kind of modern day term for that. So I took that on. I stole that from someone else, and I think that's a lot of people are thinking it's that, but I don't know.
They've done all their third party stuff at a PlayStation showcase. Maybe they do all their first party things at a third party showcase.
Mm-hmm. I think if they came out and just said, "Oh, listen, this is a third party showcase," by the way, none of us would have questioned anything. But it is. I don't know. I don't expect to see much unless there's a little bit of damage control, Jamie. I think, like I said, Death Stranding 2 is a nail on, just because of the relationship there. But yeah, other than that, in terms of PlayStation, there'll be something. But fuck, I mean, last year was more hardware stuff, wasn't it? It was the Edge. Was it the Edge controller last year? Is that what we saw at Summer Games Fest?
Actually, yeah.
I think it was the Edge controller. So but again, we saw some.
They got the Game Award. Because
Was it the Game Awards? Fuck.
They got.
I think it
What was the
was.
thing? They got the guys from the Last of Us TV show as well, and it was like, why
That
are
was
they
the
showing
game.
us?
That was
Why
that
are
was
they
the
showing
end of
us
the year.
that when they could
Yeah.
be showing us a game?
Mhm.
You know, between seeing that and the bloody Gran Turismo movie trailer at the fucking showcase as well. Get it off.
I actually I get why they did it. To be fair, the global audience or the audience they had, I get it. But it's not. The thing is, again, if we had saw a lot of good first party stuff and we got that trailer, none of us would be complaining. It's the fact that we're complaining because
What they should, like I said in this week's podcast, what they should do is show Death Stranding at Summer Game Fest, fuck everything else off, and then have a PSX in November, and everyone will absolutely shit their pants.
Yeah. Squinny in the chat has put, wouldn't surprise me if Donny's stroking himself under the desk thinking about Kashima. To be fair, mate, it's
Kojima.
I know.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, Donny, you're number 4.
Well, my number 4 was Redfall.
Redfall.
So it's you, mate.
It's me. My number 4, I spoke about it quite a bit already this week, but it's Killer Frequency. Technically, it launches today, which is in June, but I'm a pretty big deal, and I got to play it in May. So, do you like that, Donny? So, I'm going to talk about that because I just want it highlighted. And June is as long a month as May, and so by the time we get to the end of June, I'll have fucking forgot I played it, and it deserves highlighted because it's a really, really fun game. I'm a huge fan of the Telltale games when they're done right, and it's got all those vibes. Great sort of 80s aesthetic, really cool story. It's very different as well, which is what I like about it. Like, you're a DJ, but you're also trying to solve this mystery. You're taking 911 calls and trying to save people from almost like a kind of Michael Myers style killer. It's just really cool. I think it's different than anything I've ever played, while still sort of being kind of familiar. The only thing I would say is that a lot of the puzzles that you do solve are not particularly difficult. There was one or two where I was like, is that all there is to it? Or like, are they trying to swerve me here or something like that? But then when I did it, I got it right. So maybe it's maybe not that much of a challenge.
Excuse me, but there was also one that you
sorry.
asked me for help with because you were stuck. So don't.
That's true.
You know.
That's true. I did call Jess down from her bunker. And
the truth comes out now, baby. Look at
you.
Yeah. That's true. Actually, I forgot about that. I dragged her down from work yesterday to help with one of them.
So who's really the big deal then? Like,
oh, Jess, obviously. Aye.
Mm-hmm.
Aye.
Oh yeah. She is by far the brains of this operation. By the way, this whole ship comes down.
Aye, that was just a joke. I'm an absolute fanny.
Oh, I know.
I can't even reverse park. But no, honestly, I would recommend it. I would highly, highly recommend it. Obviously, it seems like we're going to have quite a lot of these good versions of these types of games coming up. Like, there was previews dropped for the Expanse today. It looks really good. So it looks like we're going to make these sort of narrative adventure type things. We're going to be getting quite a few of them. But yeah, this is one definitely not to sleep on, and it's on everything. It's even in the Switch. So obviously it's not very hardware intensive. Badum tish. But yeah,
I mean, talking about narrative adventures, there, like I'm playing through one that's kind of, it's made by former Telltale staff.
Right.
They went off and made a studio called Dramatic Labs, and they scored Star Trek as their first intellectual property, and so they just released Star Trek Resurgence, I should say, and that's follows a similar vein. It's not first person like the Killer Frequency, but it's very similar. So, like you say, they are like, narrative adventures are still popular, and it fits Star Trek perfectly.
Is it good? Is it pretty good?
It's decent. It's buggy.
Right.
But then
part of the course, isn't it? It's part of the course.
But it is decent, and they have captured kind of the what makes a good Star Trek story so far. Anyway, I just wish there was a wee bit more gameplay. Like when you compare it to like say the Telltale games, and even like so what I know Quantic Dream's like a AAA studio, and this is a really small development team. There's just a little bit too much, tweak the left stick, tweak the right stick, whilst pushing up on one other stick. And there needs to be a little bit more interaction, I think.
Right.
But as a game and as a story, it's all right. It's decent.
Yeah, I mean that is something, to be fair, that should be said for Killer Frequency as well. Like Baz, do not play it. You do spend half the game actually trying to perform the role of a DJ, like pressing the buzzer to take calls, switching records, playing ads. There's a lot of that, and 80% of it is dialogue. But they've infused quite a lot of humor in there as well. Like you've got this guy, Ponty from Ponty's Pizzas, and all throughout the night he just keeps phoning up and pretending he's someone else. Like he keeps phoning up and pretending he's getting chased by the killer, and then he always manages to just turn around and be like 2 for 1 at Ponty's Pizza, and then you're like, for fuck's sake, and you have to hang up on him. And there's a lot of good humour in it. They don't take it too seriously, and as a sort of, I suppose it is technically a horror game, it's not scary in any way. Like it's not gonna, if you're a bit of a shite bag, you'd be fine with it.
Mate, right here.
I was gonna leave you out of that there.
Nope. Shake back here.
Yes.
Right, so you said I'm the brains behind this operation, but I've lost track of where we are already. Number 4?
We're through to number 3.
No? 3?
No,
my number 3.
Jamie's number 3.
My number 3. Looking forward to my number 2, but that's for later on.
There it is.
Hey.
No. None of that toilet humour here, Jamie.
So,
just wanking jokes.
So my number 3, and again, I'll not go into too much detail because I know it's a relatively kind of niche area. But then,
Donnie's got the charger. It's fine.
Oh, how many times are we going to pull that joke? Every month. Honestly,
I mean, it's not going away anytime soon. It was too good.
It must be niggling away at you, is it?
Niggling.
No.
There it goes.
No.
Dropping it in. So yes, finally a little bit of good news for some PSVR 2 users. Sony have announced that there was at least 600,000 sales in the first 6 weeks from launch. A lot of the narrative, because we all know how popular narratives is compared to facts, is that the PSVR 2 is supposedly a flop. But actually, it turns out that it's 8% higher in terms of sales at the same point as what PSVR 1 was. In my opinion, that's quite impressive because you've got the higher price point and the availability as well. It was limited to, in most countries, to being available on PlayStation Direct alone. I think there was a select few countries that you could buy it from Amazon and other retailers, but the majority of the folk were getting it directly from PlayStation. And the reason I quite liked the fact that they put that news out was, as I say, there was a lot of doom and gloom. We had that Bloomberg report. We had a few other people making really stupid points and takes on PSVR 2. Too expensive. Oh, you have to go out and buy a PSVR. You have to go and buy a PS5 to play it. Well, then if you're playing PC VR, you need an expensive PC to run a decent rig on, unless you're getting Quests, which are not in the same kind of level of detail, shall we say, graphical capability. So it was nice to see a bit of good news. We're also starting to get some games releasing directly onto PlayStation Plus as well. So Humanity got a day one release on PlayStation Plus, and that's actually a cracking game. I really enjoyed myself playing that the other day. We've got the option to play that in VR and non-VR as well. So I think that hybrid games in that sense are really popular because you're not being excluded then if you don't have the VR headset, which a lot of folk maybe feel they are. But I certainly feel like the other area we need to kind of focus in on that is the games. We still need more kind of first party games, like full games, not just little experiences. And we actually got some today, funnily enough, getting announced because of part of the MetaQuest showcase. And we got some the other day as well. We got to see Resident Evil 4 VR getting some gameplay during the showcase. There was the Five Nights at Freddy's getting a wee teaser, and we got Arizona Sunshine, but both those were CG trailers as well. So more positive month, I would say, as somebody that forked out for the PSVR 2 at launch. And I know you did as well, Craig, didn't you?
Yeah, I love VR. I think it's always going to be niche, or it's going to be niche certainly for a long time, but it's, God, is it fun. I really enjoy it. I mean, I'll be talking about a specific game later, but yeah, I think it's easy to be a little bit not jaded, but a little bit disappointed maybe by the PSVR 2 initial lineup, just because there's so many games that have been available on other systems before. But what a lot of people have to remember is this is a lot of people's first VR headset. And if this is your first VR headset, then fucking hell, like, you struggle to have more games with as high reviews at launch. Like, there's been so many. I mean, Tetris Effect, now you've got Beat Saber coming out, Walkabout Mini Golf, so many games at a 9 or over in the first couple of months. Like, it's really, I think it's been impressive. And like you say, I think it's sold quite well. There's also the fact that the PlayStation 5 doesn't have the same install base. And so there's less of a pool of people that can buy it. So the fact that it's outpacing the PSVR 1 I think it's pretty impressive. And it's been obviously interesting to see all the people that were bashing it very, very quickly just sort of no sell it and go silent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And sorry, I was going to
yeah. Is that you recovered?
As I'm trying to ignore the chat and failing
unsuccessfully.
By the way, thank God for the mute button, let me tell you. Listen, I think you've both said it well. You know, like 600,000 units, everyone was jumping on the bandwagon. It flopped, clearly hasn't. Baz made a really good point before, saying that obviously PSVR 1 also launched in the Christmas run up to 2016. PSVR 2 launched right bang at the start of a financial crisis hitting most of the fucking world. So again, the timing is mega different. I think a big selling point at the moment for VR2 was I thought the games they showed at the showcase were brilliant. Synapse being one, looks fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I think that you could see a wee bit of not a resurgence, but an extra push on sales between now and probably Christmas. With these extra games, Christmas run up, and I think the picture could look very different, even more so in 12 months' time.
It was a good time to show those games. It coincided with the PSVR hitting much more retailers.
Because that released in May. That was 14th, 15th of May or something. I got out to retailers. So yeah, definitely, it's gonna find its way into more people's homes. And
a bit like yourself.
I was just gonna wait to try and say get that out there. So I left that hanging, and so I've lost my train.
There we go. Look at that.
It's gone. Yeah. But no, Synapse looked incredible. A bit like Dishonored, really. It's got that kind of feel about it with the powers. I saw that at the State of Play that they did actually in February as well, and it looked all right. And Dreams that make that game make really good VR games.
Very good.
And then we've got some that were announced today as well, including an Assassin's Creed Bulletstorm is coming to PSVR 2 as well. Which is, I never actually played Bulletstorm at all, so this will be a first play for me in playing it in VR, because I'm definitely buying it.
Good.
I've been kind of off the grid today. I didn't see the trailers from today. So did they show Assassin's Creed in VR? Obviously, when it was coming.
No, the Ubisoft event, which I'm looking forward to, they're obviously going to show more of that.
Right, that's good. I mean, they need fucking something to show there.
Yeah, and to be fair, Chris has put an important point in there, saying Assassin's Creed MetaQuest only so far. I can only assume it's going to be VR2. Well, I think, but at the moment they've just said MetaQuest.
Yeah, well, it was announced at the MetaQuest event, so there's every chance that Chris is right, and it might well be exclusive.
Yeah, for a while.
But on the same point, it might be that at the Ubisoft Forward they might turn around and show off all whatever, Oh, not at launch, right? Okay.
Not at launch.
Yeah. Interestingly, actually, just circling back, that Killer Frequency game, it's coming to MetaQuest, but it's not been listed for PSVR 2 yet. Hopefully it does at some point. Maybe, they've got some sort of exclusivity that they can't talk about it just now, but it's supposed to be coming to VR soon. So yeah, I'd say the state of VR is looking up.
Yep, indeed.
Okay, who's next? Dony.
Me. My number 3 is what's the future of factions? I'm sure a lot of us were expecting it last week at the showcase. What are you laughing at?
So I can't help it. Craig just makes me laugh.
What the
Is that natural charisma?
Is that what it is? Yeah, obviously that the first kind of warning sign was when it didn't appear at Showcase. A lot of us expected it to. I think then the assumption Summer Games Fest would maybe come, but then we got an article from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg again, who obviously made claims that Factions was in trouble, which then in turn made Naughty Dog release a statement via Twitter. And they said, our team will continue to work on the project as well as other games in development, including a brand new single-player experience. We look forward to sharing more soon. And of course, we then find out that actually Bungie's gotten involved and they've actually started earning their keep. And it turns out, obviously, Bungie looked over what Naughty Dog were making and whatever they've produced so far for Factions, and their claim isn't enough to keep fans engaged for a long time in terms of live service requirements. So it's all been a little bit messy, to be honest with you. Bungie obviously doing what they're supposed to do. That's what they've been bought for, to use their expertise. Naughty Dog clearly felt that what they had was worthy of going forward. But we've heard that the team's been cut a little bit. And what I thought was interesting actually was Naughty Dog's tweet, because they actually said, as well as our other games in development. So I feel as though that they've obviously got Factions. They've obviously got a brand new IP. And the assumption is they've also got The Last of Us Part 3. I think there's 3 games. I don't think anyone kind of spoke about that. The wording, as well as our other games in development, including a brand new single-player experience. So I think there's 3 games on the go there. But where this leaves Factions, I really don't know. It doesn't look good. Del Walker, who works at Naughty Dog, he's a character artist. He tweeted out, he quote tweeted the statement saying, "Let us cook," which for me, I thought he was meaning let us cook Factions. But he then replied to his own tweet saying single player experience. So he wasn't actually talking about Factions the whole time. So where do we go from here? I do not know. But I think it's pretty obvious that there's 3 games at Naughty Dog on the go. And will we ever see Factions? I do not know.
I think we will see it, but I think it's much more likely to be closer to what Factions in The Last of Us Part 1 was with The Last of Us 1. I think it's going to be more a sort of multiplayer experience, like a smaller experience. I don't think it's going to be this big sprawling live service thing anymore. By all accounts, they've not kept enough people on the project to do that, I don't think. I suppose you could argue that maybe they're far enough along that they can downsize the team, but I don't think so. I think the scope grew and grew, and what it was at, Bungie have come in and went, this isn't it. And so they've maybe... the impression I get is that we'll get something similar to what we had with Factions before, but maybe bigger maps, maybe some new modes. I don't know. And on one hand, I'm like, they've spent 4 years on this. I want to see the fruits of the labor, but at the same time, I'm like, I want single players from Naughty Dog, so single player games from Naughty Dog, and so half of me is like, just fuck this thing off.
Yeah. I would love to have been a fly on the wall, right? Because you've got Naughty Dog, who are one of the best at making single-player experiences. And you've got them making this game. Bear in mind, they've got experience making multiplayer. Uncharted 4, Factions itself, it's not as if they've never made multiplayer before. But I'd love to be a fly on the wall where they think that Factions is great, and they think they've made a great game, and Bungie walk in and go, this is fucking shit.
And let's
That's
not be
an awkward conversation. That's an awkward thing for Bungie to overrule. Because you can imagine Naughty Dog like, well, hang on, we think this is great, and you've been overruled. That's a very interesting dynamic. That you've got.
Let's not forget as well. Sorry, Donny.
Because listen, Bungie are experts at what they do, right? We know that. But for me, this is actually this is really interesting.
Right. So I take your point. As somebody who put a lot of time in, not as much time as others, but a fair bit of time into Destiny and Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Bungie aren't exactly fucking like some kind of saints when it comes to live. Yes, they've kept the live service going. They have. But
they've made mistakes.
They've made a lot of mistakes. And I mean, I think they're by no means... What I'm trying to say is that they have made Destiny, then they've went off and made Destiny 2, and they've just constantly added to Destiny 2. A lot of the content that they brought out, though, has been subpar. And we're talking like little campaign modes that maybe only last like 2.5 hours, maybe at a time, and then it's back to the same old grindy shite. They've started vaulting stuff, so stuff that content you've paid for, they've actually started putting in the vault, so you cannot access content that you've actually forked out for. And I know Destiny's not the only people to do this, but for them to come in and try and tell Naughty Dog, well, actually, you're not doing this right, I think would be really hypocritical. That being said, we've got another similar issue here, maybe where Naughty Dog, like Arcane, are masters of the single-player game. Is it possible that there was maybe rumblings internally where they didn't want to make a live service game, and there's been a little bit of conflict there, possibly?
I think you could be right. I don't know how far their heart is in it, and that guy tweeting that out, I think, could lend a bit of credence to that when he's basically saying, "Let us cook as and let us get back to what we do better than anybody in the fucking gaming space." Yeah. Like, I think that we've already seen it with multiple different games. I think we're going to continue to see it with a bunch of games, probably up until maybe the start of 2025, where there was a certain time when everyone was like, we need to be in this live service game. And I think you're starting to see failures over and over and over and over again. And people will still continue to try. Sony are still going to continue to try. And I certainly wouldn't put it past Sony to get a hit or two out it. But there's going to be so many of these games. And I think a lot of developers are getting fucked off with it as well. And
I was just the way to say that, actually. What I'd hate to see is that they start pissing off the internal developers that they've done such a great job recruiting over the years and acquiring all these cracking developers, and then start to turn around and say, right, well, you guys have to make a live service game. Let's use the new teams that they've brought in, like the Jade Redmond studio, which I know from what we believe is going to be some kind of heist-based extraction shooter. Do it with them. And bring in talent that are good at making multiplayer games. I get the worry that Sony are getting a wee bit desperate with this whole need for multiplayer games.
I don't think it's desperation. I think they're seeing the future. And, like games like, if you take Fortnite, right? Fortnite makes as much money in a month as Ragnarok will make when you spread it over 5-year development to make that game. They're making more than that in a month per. If you take Ragnarok's money out and you spread it over 5 years, and that's a piece of the pie they cannot forget about. And the gaming
it doesn't matter. Like, you could make 50 games 50 times better than Fortnite, and it's not going to make Fortnite money. It's just fucking not going to. You can try and make a lot of money, but it's not going to make Fortnite money.
It's maybe not going to make Fortnite money, but at the end of the day, there's clearly, because Fortnite didn't exist 10 years ago.
But
people did before Fortnite,
now, and there's too many people that aren't willing to move. People are creatures of habit.
I get that. They get that. But look at, like, someone made a great point about, like Modern Warfare 2. Like Call of Duty was dying on its arse until they brought back Modern Warfare. And then
not in terms of sales, it wasn't. No, in terms of
in terms of player base and in terms of in terms of the numbers that are playing on a monthly basis, it was. Modern Warfare 2 spiked it again. I'm not saying that people are going to leave Fortnite, but at the end of the day, there's so many gamers out there, hundreds of millions of us, and there's clearly a market for these live service games that everyone's investing in it heavily.
There is. I think I don't think Sony are particularly well equipped to deliver with it. Like, Fortnite's free to play. Fortnite, they get you in and then they hit you with the microtransactions. And I genuinely think 95% of the games that Sony bring out that are live service, they're going to try and charge you for. And I think that will cut it at the legs day one.
They could always launch them straight onto PlayStation Plus, mind you.
That would be the smart thing to do, definitely.
I think the point that was made earlier on with yourself, Craig, about the fact that they're scaling back factions and we might end up getting something that's similar to what we got with Last of Us Part 1 or Last of Us as it was back then. If we got that now after X number of years, do we think maybe folk would be a bit pissed off and like fed up about the fact that we've waited all this time, but you've just given me factions 1 again?
Aye. I think they would. I think there'd be a lot of people. I mean, it would be the loud minority, but they'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Could you not just have shipped this with The Last of Us Part 2 in 2020?" That's definitely what the narrative would be. Aye.
Yeah.
And do you think we see the Naughty Dog single player game before we see factions potentially?
No.
We'll see a Last of Us Part 2 remaster, which will be 70 quid with factions on PS5. That'll be a native PS5 game.
See, honestly, like, see how I know that Naughty Dog are saying, look, we've got other games in the pipeline, stuff like that. I don't think the other games are that far on. Naughty Dog's a big enough studio that they do make 2 games at once. They've been doing that for a wee while. They've overlapped, but I don't think there's a single player game coming out of Naughty Dog until 2025 at the absolute earliest. And so I would like to think they would see factions before then.
Mm-hmm.
But
I hope so.
Who knows?
So.
Like, see, I mean, it's a wee bit up in the chat now, but Richard made a great point, and it's something we've spoke about before, where he said people still have the mindset that games still take around 3 or 4 years to make, and they just don't anymore. We've spoken about that a few times recently. Like, everyone's like, "Oh, we want all these games running at 4K 60. We want more dense environments. We want better AI. We want this. We want that." And I'm sorry, if we want that, we're going to have to wait for it. Because if you want a game that takes 3 or 4 years to make these days, you get Redfall.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want. So you're just going to have to fucking wait.
Yeah.
And it's a shame and it's annoying. And it leads to showcases like Sony put on. But the stuff just isn't ready. It's just not ready.
Yeah. And to be fair, Naughty Dog did come out last year and say, Neil Druckmann did come out and say, like, they're going to stop putting unrealistic expectations on their staff. They're going to stop putting out not release dates, but kind of estimated seasons of release, coming fall 2024 or whatever, or autumn as it is in UK. But yeah,
plus you can't work your staff like dogs anymore because Jason Schreier's sniffing about trying to grass you up for it.
He's got little cameras attached to all the offices now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of snitches.
See, back in 2018, you could just fucking crack the whip and be like, "You're not going home to your fucking infant child until you get me that fucking bush at 4K."
What?
But now
hang on
Jason
here.
Schreier's
What
in the
bush?
fucking...
Are we in fucking Blizzard's studios here? Are we?
But now you've got fucking Jason Schreier peeking out from behind the fucking bush, and he grasses you in. Yeah. That guy worked fucking 16 minutes overtime on Thursday. I'm writing an expose.
And listen, I made obviously the comparison with Fortnite there. Obviously, listen, Punk's put on the chat. He's saying, listen, Ragnarok doesn't require a team to keep servers up and running. I get that. I wasn't trying to make a direct correlation, but it was just to still show the fact that there's a massive difference. Between live service games and what single players, once you've gotten past that first year, even less than that, most of your money's made on that game,
revenue generation.
It was just to highlight that the business is so different, and that is why in Sony's recent their earnings call, they made the point that from 2025, 60% of their investment is live service games. 40% is in what they've called as traditional game, which is what we know it, which in terms of monetary value is what they're putting in now. So you're not losing anything. They're doubling up essentially. But it's still the fact that 60% of gaming investment is going into live service. And we have to face the facts. This is coming. And it's the future, whether we like it or not. But you'll still get all the games you get today, you'll still get in 10 years. Well, not 10 years, but certainly the plan is, the money's still the same. You're still going to get Ragnarok 3, 4, 5. You're still going to get Horizon 4, 5, 6, 7. Ghost of Tsushima 8, 9, and 10.
But you're going to get fucking less of them because 60% of the resources that could have went to stuff that we want is now going to go to this shite.
Yeah, but they're never going to make double the amount of single players. So they're never going to make double. At the end of the day, like the 40% that's in traditional games represents the same value for money that it is today. So you're still getting the same. They're adding more to the pie. You're never going to make double the amount of single player games. There's, that was never going to happen.
No, but Sony have added to their studios, but not to the point like you had a better output of single player games in like 2017, 2018, 2019 than you've got now. I mean, you've had Naughty Dog essentially fucking wasting away on some live service thing that might not even come out now for 4 years.
Yeah.
Like that, the guts of a single player game could have been made in that time.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's just see, the thing is, all the sort of live service backlash seems to be on Sony just now, but it shouldn't be, because I'm telling you right now, although they've been a little bit more quiet about it, that's also going to be Xbox's plan. Like, you do not have Game Pass and then not try and release games as a service. Because if you've got Game Pass, you then need the games as a service, because you need people to come in to Forza and then stick around for season passes and for all this shite. Like, you notice that when they're making the new Forza Motorsport, it's not Forza Motorsport 8, it's just Forza Motorsport, because they want that to be the platform. Halo Infinite, RIP, was meant to be the platform. And it's because they want... That's the only way Game Pass can work, is if they get you into these games and then fucking milk you dry.
The Division 2 Destiny model, basically. Destiny 2 model, should I say.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, the Division 2 as well. In Division 2 still doing well. It's a way to hit 5 years. I really like it. I mean, Tam co-opted a lot of that.
Division 2 is a cracking game.
Yeah.
Does it have much player base these days?
Yeah, it does, because that's the thing. It's kept going because they're adding to it all the time. But just the way there's a rumor that at the Ubisoft event they'll be announcing the year 5 content. Yeah, no, it's still going strong. It's a cracking game as well, by the way.
They'll surely ditch it soon when they bring out that free-to-play one, though.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Are they going to keep the two of them going concurrently, or?
Well, I don't know, but they've got that, and obviously they've got X Defiant, the first-person shooter coming out as well, which is, by all accounts, fucking awesome.
Looks all right.
Yeah. The people that played the beta were raving about it.
This has got nothing to do with anything we're talking about, by the way, but just I saw, was it Wario64 putting out a sort of really fucking paper-thin lineup for the Ubisoft event, and at the top of the list was that Avatar game. Like, see, honestly, like, I'm so excited for this event to see that fucking thing. What is going on, man? There's no way that thing's good. There's no way that thing's good. I can't believe, like, on one hand, imagine if you took Mirage out of that PlayStation showcase. Holy fuck, I would have come on that live stream and taken a dump on the air on that fucking laptop. But at the same point, there's no way Ubisoft have anything better than Mirage to show. And so I can't believe they sort of cut themselves off. Like, they've got to showcase themselves. And what they're going to do? They're going to show more Mirage, but folk will just be like, "I will have seen this."
Now, listen, I'm looking forward to the Ubisoft event, so you calm down, right? You calm down.
What?
You calm down. Listen, I'm buzzing for the Ubisoft event, and we'll be doing a show for that. So just you fucking calm down, or me and you will fall out. I'm telling you.
15
the tears building there, like the voice is starting to go. Calm down.
Skull and bones, baby, skull and bones.
Oh fuck, that'll be there.
It won't fucking be
20
there.
minutes. Man. 20 minutes. I just dance. Let's fucking go.
To be fair, if they released that on PSVR 2, I'd probably buy it.
Oh, the moderator's moving us on. The moderator's moving us on.
Sorry, I was just gonna. Well, I mean, while we're on the subject, Craig, I believe we're at your number 3. So
we are. Which is what? Where am I?
You segued into Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah, Assassin's Creed's back. I don't have an awful lot to say about it, but there's no way that I wasn't putting this in my top 5, because I'm absolutely fucking buzzing for it. It's honestly like, it's that and the Cyberpunk expansion are my 2 most anticipated games of the year. I think the whole thing just looks fucking brilliant, and it's so easy from a trailer to just go, "Aye, this looks cool. I hope it delivers." But there was so many things in this trailer that I feel like were little nods to tell you this is the Assassin's Creed game that you want. Like, and I'm so excited for it. I really am. I'm going to, in fact, Jess, remind me to book time off work for this. I'm in. I'm fucking in. Let's go.
I've wanted a remake of the original Assassin's Creed for a long time, and this looks like basically what we're getting, and I'm fucking buzzing for this. I have to say, really excited for it.
Though, is this like an actual fully fledged sequel, or is it a reboot, or what?
No, it's a new. It started off as a DLC for Valhalla. And it then started growing arms and legs. It's now became its own story, but it's almost it's almost like a sideways story from Valhalla, but they've gone back to the Assassin's Creed roots of the type of game that it is. So
it does
you know,
look
the early ones that you remember. Basically, it's gone pre-RPG. Also, I'm not going to slag off the RPG. I still love Assassin's Creed, and obviously Chris in the chat, he does as well. So there's a lot of us that do like the current Assassin's Creed format, but I still long for the original. The first few games, Ezio's story. I'm still looking forward to that. So this for me ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not...
also, again, like, I know I bring this up sometimes, but 15 to 20 hours, yep, absolutely. Like,
it's not a full price game. Like, I think it's like retailing at like 44, 45, something like that. So it's not as big as the other ones, I'm assuming, on that basis.
Yeah,
yes,
it's much
Chris
shorter.
In the chat. Sorry to say yes, Chris in the chat. I know it's not an AC1 remake. What I mean is because it's the original type of game. It's not the RPG bloated games we know of. That's what I was meaning. It's more like the original games than what we've got recently. And I know it's about this scene from Valhalla. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's every chance that you could be done with this by the time in Valhalla you saw that title screen. Because I was about 10, 12 hours before I saw the title screen in Valhalla.
Yeah, I love Valhalla. I'm not going to slag it off.
No, I enjoyed it as well. Not as much as others, but I enjoyed it.
I think the last one I played was Origins. I'll rephrase that. The last one I played that I really enjoyed was Black Flag, actually. Origins was a good shift in terms of this RPG. And I liked the combat. Origins. But I think for me, the franchise was becoming a wee bit stale. And then they redid it with Origins. And then instead of you climbing towers, you just had the stupid daft eagle that you would get to fly about for you.
Okay.
Sorry to take a massive dump. But no, this does look good, though. Assassin's Creed does look good.
Yeah. So, Jamie, then, you're number 2.
Number 2 is one of the ones we got at the PlayStation showcase, actually. Alan Wake 2. I'm really hyped about that. That's one of the ones I'm really looking forward to. We got an October release on that one. It's kind of shifting genres slightly into full-on survival horror as opposed to more of an action style game. We got a little bit of the new protagonist as well, Sega. I'm going to say Saga Anderson. One of the bits that I really liked to the trailer actually was hearing James McCaffrey, who obviously plays Max Payne among other characters in Remedy games.
Mm-hmm.
And the bit he's monologuing over cuts to a bit with Sam Lake, and he looks basically like Max Payne in this scene. He's shirt, tie, leather jacket. He just looks like Max Payne, and it just gave me like the biggest chubby. So yeah, for me, massively hyped about this. My only major concern is that they announced it's going to be a digital-only release. The reason I find that concerning is I'm a big fan of physical. Who doesn't like a bit of physical? And ultimately, it's one of those things that still adds a bit of resale value. You can, if you buy it, you play it, you don't enjoy it, you can chuck it on. I just don't like this idea that there's a studio willing to go completely digital on that type of big AAA game. And I know THQ Nordic have come away and sent a kind of jokey tweet to them and said that they'll publish it for the one physically on PC. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. I love the remaster, whatever you want to call it. Mega hyped for this. Love Remedy games. Probably like Arcane, one of those studios that for me always seem to deliver. Control was a huge, massive hit for me.
Yeah.
And I know they did some Alan Wake DLC for that. Love it. Can't wait.
What were you doing? Didn't you play this? No.
Nope. Shite bag here. I ain't fucking playing this shit. I shot myself in the trailer, baby. I ain't playing this. Fucking no way.
It does certainly seem like they're leaning more into the horror. Like, don't be wrong, Alan Wake was a horror game, but it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't. I wouldn't have called it full horror. Like, it was a little bit like horror light, whereas this definitely seems like it's going to be more sort of jump scares, survival horror style. The graphics look incredible in it. It really does
by the way,
look good.
fucking hell.
That
Aye.
that Northlight engine
Wow.
that they use is amazing. Like, it's an absolutely brilliant engine that they've
I'm
got there.
buzzing to see Control 2. If that's how Alan Wake 2 looks, I can't wait to see Control 2. Holy shit.
Hopefully Control 2 runs fucking better than the original did at launch, because that was, Jesus, man.
On the stuttery side,
It was grim. Great game, but it had some pretty shocking frame rate at launch. Yeah, no, I'm excited for this. I totally get it. Like, I only buy digital, so it doesn't bother me personally, but I totally get it for fans of physical media. And obviously, like, we've just became a Shop 2 affiliate, so the fact that Remedy have played us like this is a fucking shambles.
I'll tweet Sam Lake for you, mate, if you want. I'll say to him, here.
I'd appreciate that.
You dare, mate. Come on.
Aye.
Silly.
I could be making fucking 2p if somebody buys a copy.
He's a big
of that.
deal. This boy here.
I'll just say, exactly. Just tell him I'm a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really glad we're getting it this year. That was one of the games. See, pre-PlayStation Showcase, if you had asked me 5 games that were going to slip into next year, that's one that I would have probably picked. It just seems like Remedy really have their hands full. And I know they did a sort of, I think it was a conference call or something recently, and they were saying that
You got him, Chris. You got him. Oh man!
Oh Jesus!
If anyone's listening to this on podcast, you need to come in the next time. You need to come and watch this shit. Oh, the chat's alive tonight. Nice,
Oh dear.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, Craig, the point
I'm not even sure where I was. We can move on from there.
Oh man, that was good. That was good. Is it me?
Yes, it's your number 2, Donny.
It was me. My number 2 is Metal Gear Solid is back. Snake. It's back, baby. After years of speculation, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, dubbed Metal Gear Solid Delta, is being remade by Konami, and fucking yes. Unbelievable. To coincide with that, this autumn we're also getting the Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 1, which is essentially the HD remasters we got a few years ago. No mention thus far if there's any quality of life tweaks to them or not, or if it's just ports. Hopefully not just ports, we get a bit of quality of life, and presumably trophy support as well. What's quite exciting about this actually is the fact that we're not just getting Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, but we're also getting the MSX Metal Gears 1 and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake as part of it as well, because it's a special edition HD edition. So exciting. Only negative point is it looks as though the Snake Eater is a lot away yet. I think we were all hoping this was sooner. But listen, doesn't fucking matter. Big Boss is back, and that's what we want.
My concern with this is, I mean, one, I think that the collection is just going to be ports, unfortunately. Like, hopefully we do get quality of life improvements, but
I'm hoping that I'm not expecting much, Craig, but I'm hoping there's a little bit of quality, because even the HD stuff, it's still a little bit jank. You know, you've got to expect that it's not going to be perfect. You have to expect that. Just ports, but I'm hoping there's something, you know.
I just want to point out that we did have this same hope pre-GTA trilogy, so just keep that in the back of your mind. One thing that sort of alarmed me slightly about this, one, the fact that it's so far away, clearly, and two, was we heard a couple of days ago that it was Virtuous that are helping on this port.
Yeah,
I do not have any faith in them. They shat out that fucking Outer Worlds current gen port recently, and it ran like utter shit. It worries me that they're helping on this project. Like, I still think it's probably going to be really good, but I don't know. I think there's going to be a real fucking spotlight on this. Them trying to redo Kojima's work without Kojima. I know you should be able to do it because it's essentially a remake, but I don't know. I don't know. It worried me a bit. I know they're only helping on the game, but I don't know. They don't have the greatest of track records, and that concerned me a little.
Yeah. Couchy's asked, how do you feel about the news they'll use the same audio? A little bit concerned, to be honest with you. I assumed it would get a full redoing over, with or without David Hayter. I wasn't going to go into that much detail, but I'm surprised they're reusing audio.
Yeah, there's a few worrying little things coming out from this. Like, I don't know, like there's all this Konami is back stuff, but they need to prove to us that they're back first. Like, and I think we're sort of taking them at face value just now, which would have been fine a couple of years ago, but fuck me, we've had our heart broken enough.
I think for me personally, I know I've said a few times in the Discord about certain franchises that have passed us by, and Metal Gear was another one that kind of I only touched the Metal Gear. Is it 4? The one I can't even remember which one it is. Sons of the Patriots or Ghost of the Patriots or something like that.
Yeah, Sons of the Patriots, wasn't it?
But I also played a little bit of that Ground Zeroes, the one where Kiefer Sutherland took over from David Hayter, the one which sparked all that flurry with him. Yeah, and the prologue guy, that was it. And played a wee bit of that. So I don't. For me, if it is just a kind of basic port for the collection in August, it might be enough for me to kind of have a look at it and get into the franchise a wee bit. So I'm jumping into obviously Diablo, which is another franchise that's passed me by, and I've spoken about like Final Fantasy. So yeah, I mean, for me, I enjoyed what I saw, but obviously there wasn't much. It was kind of essentially a CG trailer, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Metal Gear Solid is one of those franchises that we did the Metal Gear Solid 1 as a throwback episode a few months ago, and I spoke about it when it first came out. I couldn't get into it, but I was young. I was 11 or 12. It wasn't until I was like basically an early adult that I played it and appreciated it more. And we had Joe from the Trophy Room podcast on recently, and he put a tweet out saying that he couldn't get into Metal Gear Solid 3, and someone was like slagging him off, saying, "Oh, you run a gaming podcast, you've never played Metal Gear Solid 3." He was like, "I was 11 when that game came out. Like, what the fuck? Like, these aren't games for fucking teenagers and young kids." So, like, I think, Jamie, playing it now and giving yourself an opportunity, I think you'll appreciate them, because the story's fucking mental, by the way. Like, they are absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, it's Kojima, isn't it?
Yeah, and they honestly, they are absolutely fucking outrageous. But I think you'll enjoy them and appreciate them. I just hope there's, Baz mentioned that it's ports to the PS3 and 360 versions, which is obviously what I said. But I was hoping that a little bit more quality of life improvements to them. They weren't just going to be pure ports. It just seems like an awful lot of grandstanding for just complete ports and nothing else. But we've had absolutely no information that it's going to be anything more than just ports. So I'll be a bit disappointed if it is, but I'll still fucking play it, obviously, because it's Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
Solid for a bit of Solid Snake.
Absolutely. Big Boss.
Rock hard.
Cool. Craig, number 2.
My number 2 is Walkabout Mini Golf. It launched finally on PSVR 2 this month. I was hoping it would have been there at launch, but obviously I think it maybe came a bit too soon for them. I fucking love this game. Like, it feels almost like a bit of a cop-out putting in for me, because I have been playing this game since 2020, but it's just... I said in my review, I can't remember off the top of my head how many games I've gave a 10 out of 10 to, but it's not many. And I did this month for Walkabout Mini Golf. It's almost perfect. Like, it's an amazing multiplayer experience. It's an amazing single player experience. I mean, it takes a lot for me to even entertain multiplayer, but the fact that you can literally it's like a chilled out session, just chatting with your pals. The mechanics on it, the physics are better than almost any even non-VR game. Like, every time you hit a shot, it feels exactly how it should. When you mess up, you've messed up. And there's so many little just extras in it that don't need to even be there. Like every single hole, you've got a secret ball to find. You can fly up in the air and zoom all about the course. It's just the whole thing. It's absolutely brilliant. Like it's one of the few games that I would say is worth buying a headset for. I can't say enough good things about it. And the way they support the game, new courses every 2 to 3 months, and they continue to do so. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I've not got a lot to say about this. I only had a fucking charger, didn't I, Craig? So, I mean, there's fuck all I can say about this shit other than enjoy your fucking pitch and putt. You know.
Have you played it at all, Jamie?
I've not yet. No, it is on my radar though. I'm trying hard to convince a mate of mine who is a big golf fan. And I know this is crazy golf. This isn't exactly, PGA 2023 or any of that.
Fake golf.
But no, it's definitely one that I'm keen to pick up. And I think, as you say, it looks like one that you could just totally chill with a mate, sit, have a couple of beers, play some crazy golf. It's almost like being there, I can imagine. It's that sort of thing, it's that added sort of thing that you can't do in real life, because you could go play crazy golf and but this obviously is like kind of fantasy world, and when you're in the headset and anybody that's never played VR, watching these kind of videos never do it justice.
No, absolutely not.
And it strikes me as one of those games that you probably couldn't have got on PSVR 1, because if you're saying that you need to have, if the controls are that good that you've made a mistake, on PSVR 1 you would just try and tap the ball, and before you know it, the sensor, when they pick up the controller, and you'd be away across the other side of the map with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can vouch for it. Obviously, I've played it as well alongside Craig, albeit when we've played it together, we've played it in different rooms, and it is crossplay. So I think I had the Meta Quest on, and you had PSVR 2, and it was a great experience. That, like you say, it is very, I don't know, cartoony, and but it's just so bright and colourful and just fun. It's just a fun game to play either by yourself or as I say, we played it together, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
check YouTube with your fucking double VR units and even my charger. Who knew podcasting pays so well? I mean, a fucking pay rise here.
The only thing I would say, see if you do have, and I wouldn't say this about many VR games, but if you have a Quest and you have a PSVR 2, there's no difference. Like it's not really up-resed. The only reason why you would buy the PlayStation VR 2 version over the Quest version is if you were into trophies. Like other than that, it's probably slightly better on the Quest just because it's wireless. Like, don't get me wrong, it handles perfectly on the PSVR 2 as well, but there is a bit of sort of moving around, and so the cable sometimes can get in the way. It's certainly not anything to put you off buying it, but if you have both, I would probably go with the Quest. But yeah, phenomenal game.
Cool.
Okay, thank you. Where are we at now? Lost again.
Number 1. Jamie's number 1. Who is your number 1, Jamie?
My number 1.
Who's your favourite person in the Discord?
I don't really have any favourites in the Discord.
And why is it Couchy?
Couchy's everyone. Nah. Squinny's everyone's favourite, but
there's Baz in the chat. He's been out looking for 9 holes.
He's all pandering to me, honestly. So my number 1 is actually Peter Parker. Actually, it wouldn't be Peter Parker. It's Miles Morales as well. Spider-Man. What are we showing? We got from the Spider-Man trailer there at the showcase, and I know there was a lot of people slagging it off. The gameplay looks shite, apparently. Who knew? But we got a decently extended look. We got another. I could have done with a release date. Maybe, okay, they're sticking to their guns. It's coming this autumn, but I would have liked a release date. Overall, though, I was really impressed with what I saw. We've had some confirmation today regarding some of the kind of details regarding character switching. Dony did, not to give the guy too much credit, Dony did call it, I think, in the Discord, that we're looking at sort of GTA-style switching between characters, and that's essentially been confirmed. Because at the time that they released a sort of blog post about it, it didn't make it clear whether we were going to get it as seamlessly as that, because it said something about story moments. But they've confirmed today that it's going to be, there are going to be some moments where it's forced to sort of work within the storyline, but then there is going to be the option to do certain adventures as either character. There'll be some Peter Parker centric stories, there'll be some Miles centric stories, and then you can do other things just as either character. The gameplay we're seeing just now, the symbiote suit looks cracking. Like, the abilities that it seems to be giving you look brutal. I love the fact that Peter Parker is a little bit darker in this, obviously. I do believe with a few of the rumblings that this could be his final game. He could be, being flushed down the drain in this one. And it could end up being a sort of Miles-centric stories going forward. And yeah, I loved everything about it. The loading screens, or lack of loading screens, the way that the game's moving. They're saying that you can traverse the city faster in this because of the power of the SSD. There's just so many cool things about it. And okay, yeah, there may be some rough edges, but they've confirmed again this is an earlier build of the game. There was still some pretty decent things to look at, and I know it was running by the looks of things in fidelity mode, so we were seeing like ray tracing and things like that going. But again, you've got the performance RT mode as well, which is what I tend to play it on when I'm playing like some Miles and that. Yeah, can't complain. Loved what I saw, and it's got me hyped for more, which is what we should have got more of at that showcase.
Yeah. No, listen, I think this just looks fucking brilliant. I loved the Spider-Man game, loved Miles, so this for me was always going to be fantastic. And I just, like, there's times when you watch things and then you see people on Twitter and you get it, you get the agenda, you understand. I'm like, I must be watching something fucking different than you people, I just sometimes it begs belief, but yeah, you're right. I did kind of call, not that it took a genius to call how it was going to work. GTA 5 did a brilliant job of having that kind of near seamless switch, to be fair. And I like the fact that they've kind of said that in free roam you can choose between them, but there will be points where you can't.
Yep.
And I think also that'll be good story beats. Jamie, I agree with you. I think the story. Chris is saying in the chat he'd happily bet that Peter survives. Now, I've never read a comic book in my life, but one thing I do know about Spider-Man is at some point in the Spider-Man trail of comics, Peter Parker does die, and something else happens. Whatever the fuck else, I don't care what else happens, but he does die. They do kill him off. That's spoilers. Like 20 years ago, So, and then obviously Miles then becomes the main Spider-Man. So I think they might do something like that, and then they might then incorporate some sort of multiverse thing. Yeah. I can see that happening. I really can. But listen, I know it's a long shot, but yeah. I think it is leading down more towards Miles being the number one Spider-Man. Obviously, you've got the Spider-Verse movies. You've got a live-action Miles film coming out as well. So I think it makes sense that they'll go down that road. And Chris will happily put a £10 charity bet on with you, mate. We can have a bit of fun on that if you like. So yeah, listen, absolutely buzzing for this game. And I think anyone with a PlayStation probably is as well. Maybe even Callum. Shout out to Callum in the Discord, who's loving Miles at the moment. Yeah, I know he's loving Miles. I know. Yeah. Couchy's put, how would you feel about a Venom spin? Oh, sorry. How would you feel about a Venom spin-off the same way that Miles came after the first game?
Day one. Buy it, day one.
Day one, yeah.
Tony Todd's voice in Venom, he's fucking outstanding. He is, he could read me the phone book. This boy, he is, he was the original Candyman, and any Trekkies know him as Worf's brother as well. He's a character actor. He's popped up. He was in the Final Destination films. He's popped up in a lot of weird and wonderful things. So the fact they've got him to voice, he doesn't even need any kind of special effects to make his voice sound awesome. He is a fantastic choice.
He's excellent at leaking release windows as well.
Aye, yeah. Am I right in saying though? Right, because obviously Tony Todd is voicing Venom, right? But Venom isn't Peter Parker with the suit. Venom is some other dude that's infected by the symbiote that he is Venom. Is that am I right? Anyone in the chat can kind of vouch for that? I think like Peter Parker with the symbiote isn't Venom. It's a different person with the symbiote that's Venom, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm a non-comic book person here, so I'm fucking.
You've seen the film. Surely you've seen the Raimi trilogy, no?
Eddie Brock, Squinny, thank you very much. So,
Yeah.
Eddie, I haven't watched the films.
I never answered because you asked the chat, so I just let
yeah.
the chat answer.
Yeah, so Eddie Brock with the symbiote is Venom, and that's who Tony Todd is voicing. Yeah, we got there in the end, you know?
So is it going to be like a Venom versus Venom battle then?
No, be Venom. Venom will be the ultimate bad guy because obviously, but presumably Peter Parker will lose the symbiote, will lose the blackness, hey, matron, and Eddie Brock will get infected with the symbiote and become Venom because Venom is Eddie Brock with the symbiote.
Fuck's sake, man! This sounds way too fucking superhero shite for me. Like I really enjoy the gameplay and I'm really looking forward to it, but my God, every word the last 3 minutes has made me less excited for this game. The gameplay is really good.
Yeah, we've gotten a little bit deep on the whole Spider-Man lore there.
It was Venom that you were playing with earlier, was it not?
No, that's Peter
guy.
Parker. That's Peter Parker with the symbiote.
Just talking about my toy, you knob.
I'm just fucking telling it like it is.
So that's pet name, Venom.
Aye, that's what I call him when he touches.
We're playing with Venom in the bath.
Yeah, no, I'm all in for this game. I think it looks really good. I like the fact that, like I've said before, I prefer my superhero games to have as little superhero elements in them as possible. I find the gameplay usually really good, but like one of the reasons Batman's my favorite superhero is that he's most of the time not really a superhero. He's just a fucking super tough guy with gadgets. And so I imagine a lot of the time, given the choice, I will play as Miles instead of this Spiderman cross Venom thing, if possible. But
you're not getting Prototype vibes though from that. Like Prototype was fucking unbelievable, by the way. I'm getting major Prototype vibes.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
I meant to actually say that. Yeah, when that clip was there, you're absolutely right. The way that the tentacles from the Venom sort of it does look Prototype-esque, like 100%.
I think I bounced from Prototype pretty early just because again,
Prototype 1 is
it was too superhero-y.
It's so good, man. What a game.
Nah. But yeah, no, I look at it. It looks really good. It's up there. It's one of my top most anticipated games of the year. But it's no Mirage. Let's be real.
Oof.
I don't like a superhero stuff, but I'm quite happy with a guy that transcends histories by using some weird whatever it is,
Animus,
virtual fucking sunbed that he sits in.
Nothing wrong with a virtual sunbed.
The worst thing about Assassin's Creed games is that all that modern day shit.
Oh, you've just set Chris off. Oh.
Take all that shit out of it, man. All of it. Every last bit of all the modern day Desmond shit, Animus, take it all out. Take it all out, the whole lot.
I don't even know if you'll get a response from him out of that.
I've got him one. He's raging. Oh man. All of it is utter guff. Utter guff.
Abstergo.
Abstergo. Abstain
from Abstergo.
Abstain from
Squinny, thank you, brother. I agree with Donny. Animus stuff can disappear. There we go, you see.
Get in the bin.
Fluffers, agree with Donny. A load of guff. See, Chris, you're on your own, pal. Sorry, mate. You're on your own. You and Desmond can go and do your own thing.
I think it had its place, but at a certain point, it seemed like they were like, God, we didn't really know that we were going to make as many of these games, and we sort of need to find a way to keep this going.
It's like the video game version of Lost. They got so far and they went,
actually.
How the fuck are we finishing this? That's exactly what happened. It's like, they got halfway through and went, oh shit, let's just do some time travel. It's the easiest way to get out of any fix, the Bobby Ewing special. It's
all a dream.
Yeah.
He wakes up and he actually was on a sunbed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's get a VR sunbed game on the go.
And do what?
Chill
would
out.
That be called? Well, you wouldn't chill on a sunbed, though. You kind of bake.
Well, hey.
UVBR.
Okay, let's move on, please. I believe Craig and Donny both have the same number one. Surprise, surprise. So
Copycat cunt.
What? Yeah, listen, we'd be remiss not to talk about the PlayStation Showcase. It was the biggest talking
Did
point in the
PlayStation have a
month.
showcase?
They did. They had a great
I think
gaming
Xbox had a showcase last week, didn't they?
You know, like the PlayStation Showcase for a PlayStation event was so bad it gave Xbox their first laugh in 2 years. So that probably tells you probably how bad it was for a PlayStation event. For a gaming event, it was fucking good. For a gamer, for everyday gamers, ignoring any kind of branding, it was a great event, and we saw 35 games. But yeah, listen, it missed the mark. It missed the mark a lot. Everyone had the same complaints. Too many CGI trailers. Where's the first party stuff? Where's the gameplay? Where's the hype announcement about Ghost of Tsushima Part 2? Where's all these things that were just missing? It felt like a state of play. And unless they somehow claw back with Jeff Keighley, it's no great. And what's funny is that a week ago, the PlayStation PR was up here because I've given everything about the sort of sales they've had and all the kind of, how bad Xbox has been doing. PlayStation was up here and they were laughing. The feel-good factor was there. They have a showcase that missed the mark and it's down here. It's like, if the showcase didn't exist, nothing would have changed. So the showcase dropped the stock price basically, but it's dropped the PR, which just again shows you how bad it was. Yeah, difficult week for Sony, to be honest with you. And the hype train of the showcase didn't quite manifest. And here we are.
To be honest, like when you mentioned Sony PR there, like I've been hard on them for about a year now. Like I think they've got by and let games and sort of services speak for themselves, but I think they've been in cruise control for far too long. Like I go back to the launch of PlayStation Plus, they just fucking let it release. Like they should have been. That is a really good service that they should have been hyping, and instead we had to watch it launch in other territories to find out what was on it, and then watch it launch in our territory and find out that there was some different games on it. Like put out some fucking branding. Even like when Ragnarok came out, like don't be wrong, they spent a lot of money getting fucking celebrities to talk about it, but they still like I don't know, they just. I'm not saying they didn't hype Ragnarok, they did. There was ads and stuff like that, but I just there's something different about Sony just now. Like they
it's almost an arrogance to them.
Maybe I don't know. I just think, I mean, they are so far ahead just now that they are almost like, well, we don't need to do anything, and I think there is merit to that. But at the same point, I'm just like, come on, you need to fucking get a grip here.
Problem is, Craig, is that like you say that the new PS Plus subscriptions came out, right, and they did a shit job of marketing it. 30% of the 46 million people on PS Plus are on the higher tiers.
I'm not saying it wasn't a success.
I know, but you're asking them to do something they don't need to do.
But they still should.
But 30% of people sign up paying more money.
I know, but it doesn't fucking matter. Like, just because something's successful doesn't mean you shouldn't make more of an effort with it. They just fucking let the thing come out.
Because they don't need it.
I know they don't need to, but you don't know what the uptake could be if they actually did make a fucking effort. Like, it was always going to do well, and people are always going to cycle over, and PlayStation's the number one brand, so the shit kind of sells itself to a degree. But sometimes there's multiple times in the last year we've looked over and went, what's going on here? Like, I don't know. And like I've spoken about it before, but in the UK, like most of the PlayStation PR in the UK aren't even gamers. Like they couldn't tell you the star of Uncharted. Yeah, maybe now they could because there's been a film, but they would likely say Tom. Honestly, I would guarantee if I messaged everyone at the Sony PR in the UK and said, who's the main guy in Uncharted, more than half of them would reply saying Tom Holland.
That's such a needless low blow, but I like it. I like it.
True, but like you say, like you're totally right in what you say, where it's like, but what they're doing's working, and it is. Yep. But I don't want to see.
Every from a commercial point of view, everything's working. Hardware is selling, it's flying off the shelf. Games are selling well, first party selling well, accessories are flying off the shelf like the hardware is. Edge is doing well, headsets are doing well.
Is Edge doing well?
Yeah, it is, yeah, because again, hardware, I think accessories are like 30% up. So all these things are all doing well.
But will they not count PSVR 2 in that?
Well, possibly, yeah. But again, that's
600,000
units.
I would be surprised if that Edge controller has sold well.
Either way,
I don't think they expected it to. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think they turned around
well.
I don't think they expected that thing to jump off the shelf by any means. Like, you make a premium controller for people who want a premium controller.
Yeah. But people are buying into the whole hardware ecosystem, and that's what they want, and it's working. The facts, the figures, the finances do not lie, and no matter how much PR spin we put on it, it's all selling. And people can't.
I do agree with what Craig's saying, though. I mean, I think we had the fantastic showcases that we got when PS5 was coming. You had your hype build up for that. You had your 2 showcases. Jim Ryan, like, we'll let the games do the talking and all this. And they were flying after that. And then the PS5 launched, and it was amazing, and it was a great success. But it just seems like kind of years 2 and 3 have been a little bit. I wouldn't maybe arrogance was wrong earlier. Complacency, I feel, may be the word, because even with the PSVR 2 hype, there was none. There was barely any. Ozzy Osbourne,
state of play, fucking something.
Ozzy Osbourne was on, and he's fucked. Like he can't even see his normal eyes. Never mind sticking a pair of VR goggles on him. And yeah, we got a state of play the week that the PSVR 2 came out. But up until then, we should have had a state of play the week before it came out rather than a week after. Again, to back up what you're saying, Donny, lack of PR, lack of promotion, and yet it is still outselling PSVR 1. So
that's the thing. I mean, everything's still doing well, but they were announcing PSVR launch titles the day before this headset launched.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just do some fucking promotion. And like, it's again, like, see the backlash to this showcase last week. It wouldn't have been as big if Sony hadn't just fucking went on holiday for 2 years. Their PR said fuck all for so long that when they announced this showcase, you've got folk like fucking Greg Miller literally spunking on air about how it's going to be the showcase of dreams and nothing will ever touch this ever again. And then everybody else gets wrapped up and they're like, oh my God, here we fucking go. And it turns out it was just an okay showcase. But people thought it was going to be more because they're like, oh, they've been quiet for so long. They've been like, if they just say more, like,
I know, but I mean, it'd been 18 months since a showcase, so I think we all expected more based on that alone.
But again, have better PR and don't make it 18 months. Give more interim updates.
I know, but they've been doing the state of play thing's been working, and it's listen. We all wanted more.
I think maybe as well you've got to factor in
PlayStation. Sorry, Jay, every PlayStation fan wanted more, and every Xbox was delighted what they saw because it gave them something to laugh about for the space of a week. Well, I'm being facetious, but I'm also being serious as well. That's the thing. It's a double-edged sword, or 2 sides of the coin, I should say. But I don't know.
We'll have a clearer picture after next Sunday.
Yeah, or even the next few months. Yeah, but I think anyone down in tools because of a fucking showcase needs to have a word themselves as well. Fucking hell.
No, there's still plenty to play, and there's still plenty coming to play, and we're going to the big games will come. I mean, that's maybe what an Xbox fan has probably been saying for the last 3-4 years. So there's always next year. But
I don't know anybody that owns a PlayStation. All the guys in our Discord, friends of mine that own a PlayStation, I don't know any of them that have barely turned the thing on this year. I've only not turned mine on in the last 10 days because I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom. I've been waiting, obviously, Diablo / Final Fantasy 16. That's fine. Tears of the Kingdom's taking me away. That's the first time this year my PlayStation 5 hasn't been turned on. I don't know anybody else that's barely turned their PlayStation 5 on.
But
the only person I can think of, one person is Ben from Grumpy Gamers. Shout out to Benno. The only guy I know that's PlayStation 5 hasn't been on much this year. And he admits that openly. That's fine. But that's it. The only person I know. So there's a fucking reason for that. The games are there. And the enjoyment's there. And the engagement's there.
It's the lack. I think it's the lack of first party. We were spoiled at the start of the PS5 life cycle with some incredible first party games like that were ready to go, and then we knew the ones that were coming out because they did such a good job with the couple of showcases that we had. So, we knew about Ragnarok was coming, kind of thing. We had Horizon Forbidden West, and then you had the games at launch like Demon's Souls remake and everything as well. So, I think they had a lot to fill the front end. We're lacking a little bit now, and then I think we'll get a fair bit at the. I'm not going to say the word rear end, but you know what I mean.
What's happened is that PlayStation fans are now starting to go through a little bit of a spell of what Xbox fans have been going through, where like we sat there and said, made jokes, there's nothing to play on Xbox. There's always been plenty to play on Xbox because the third party's always been there, and the third party's fucking fantastic. Like, no one is hurting for games. And when at a time just now where, we've got Spiderman coming, but we haven't had many first-party games, it doesn't matter because the third parties came along, like Jedi Survivor, despite its fucking issues, and it's been excellent. And so you're not going to have nothing to play. You're going to have Alan Wake. You're going to have Mirage. You're going to have the Cyberpunk expansion. You're going to have... There's so much shit coming, and more that we're going to find out about next week. So... Yeah,
can I ask you a question to interrupt you? Sorry. Since we started recording, did you apply fake tan in the last hour?
No, I'm in a conservatory that's got dark, and so I've got a light shining on me. Why are you getting turned on?
I'm now just looking at Jess trying not to laugh.
Is this doing it for you? Is that what it is?
It's working for me. It's working for me. Always does, though.
That's true. I'm just a very sexual being, Donny.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fake tan you're seeing. It's just he's oozing masculinity.
Is that what it is?
My nipples are fucking rock hard, by the way. Rock hard.
That's plenty.
I'm gonna come on now and just end this conversation. Thanks.
You're gonna what now?
Okay, so I guess that is everybody's top 5 covered. Any closing thoughts or comments?
Well, Squinny's asked, how sexual were you after footy, Craig?
Oh, I gave myself a good rub down.
Good.
The shower was a good time.
Good.
Could live stream that next time. That could be a Patreon bonus.
Oh, no. You want to attract people.
Only flans.
Only flans. Hopefully Punk's still watching so he can hear me say, everyone, smash that like button. Smash the like button, baby. Hit the bell button and subscribe. That's for you, Punk.
Yeah.
Make sure you turn on your notifications.
Yeah. Please do turn on your notifications because we will be going live again twice in the next week or so. So we'll have our usual Thursday episode releasing on the 8th at 3 p.m. and then that evening is Summer Game Fest. So we will be doing a post-show live stream after that. And then on the Sunday the 11th, we've also got the Xbox Game Showcase and the Starfield Direct. So again, we'll be going live after that. So exciting times ahead, lots to look forward to, hopefully. And as always, thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode / stream, depending on how you're consuming it. But yeah, that's all from me. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Yeah, and thanks very much, Jamie. You have
thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and for anyone who is watching just now, but we will also be doing a Twitch stream tomorrow night, Friday night. Because I'm going to do Diablo 4, probably with Jamie. I think Tam's joining us later on, so we're going to do some Twitch streaming of Diablo 4 because we're all buzzing for that, and probably on Saturday as well because we're all fucking loving Diablo at the moment. So yes,
Yep. Stay tuned.
Twitch on the go. Get Twitch on the go. Look at us getting all modern. Look at this.
You're usually twitching at the weekend anyway.
Absolutely.
Normally on a, I was going to say, unconscious on a street corner somewhere.
That's plenty, Jamie.
Normally in the corner.
Yeah,
normally in the corner of Scott Mid.
Okay, thanks again, and bye everyone.
Bye, Ron.
Bye.